G'day folks, and welcome to my second one, which I recorded straight after doing the other one, after doing a little bit of research and so on. Okay, so for those of you who know, they released a status report on Tuesday at 8:43 p.m. Their time, or sorry, my time, which was in the evening. So it was good for us here in Australia. We got to see it before a lot of people did, but yeah, some big announcements in there. DS5's Dayz is now out on all major platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4, as we all know. Bada boom, bada bing. Couldn't help but jump to that. You've probably seen some team changes on social networks and wondering what next. Of course, that's only natural. Today we would like to talk about all the current issues, the expectations set by both the Dayz mod and 0.62, and the future of the game. Consoles updates will always happen after the PC updates, so nothing new there. Yeah, I know that upsets a lot of the console crowd, but yeah, so this is starting to get to the key areas of what I wanted to talk about with you all. Past, present, and future. Parity with 0.62 and the Dayz mod. Full parity isn't possible because of the engine specifics. While features from 5 years ago are exciting, we want to remind you most of the features didn't really work properly back then, and this is why it wasn't a final game. And yeah, it didn't. The new engine is so much better. You might question the necessity of a new engine, but those who took a long break from the game, it's plain to see just how much of a difference it has made. And that's a comment I see time and time again in streams when I'm watching it, on videos and so on. People saying, wow, it has changed a lot, hasn't it? So they've done a fantastic job there. Well, I know I was skeptical at times, but they have, and kudos to them for the work they've done. Although it might be hard to notice a change when you play daily, taking a step back should help to highlight many of the improvements that have been made during development, and these improvements are strengthening the game every day. We see it through the steadily increasing player count, even on PC, since March 2019. Public data is here. Team charts. Let's go for 1 year. So yeah, slowly increasing, almost 20,000. Peak there. Overall, peak was 45,000. So definitely best it's been in a while. Slowly climbing. We see it in Twitch statistics with more channels streaming the game and more people watching, and a link to Twitch stats there. Mate, we've had bloody Shroud streaming the game, Summit 1G streaming the game, and generally they're not saying too much negative about it either. So that's just increasing the exposure to a whole new bunch of people who've never heard of Dayz. It might be a far cry away from the numbers of 2013. Well, not really. We're getting close to 50% of those numbers again, but for an almost 6-year-old game, it's pretty good. Of course, we will continue to work on Dayz to make everyone's experience better. They did promise 5 years from 1.0, but yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that soon. Let's take a more detailed look at the game and its future. Now, this first one here, yeah. Advanced health system. We improved it in 1.04 and will continue the balancing. However, at this time, we will not commit to implementing complex medical injury gameplay. Whilst this is desired by many hardcore players, we are still struggling to fully explain the complexity of the existing system to the majority of players. Moving forward, we are working on a nice balance between authenticity and accessibility. Okay, so this guy says it best. Barely infected. For those of you who don't know him, have a good hard look at yourself. How can you not know Renee? I'm half serious when I say that as well, but he is one of the sage, wise masters of the Dayz community. When he speaks, nearly everyone stops and listens to him. The health system is a joke gameplay wise. Where are the diseases, the broken legs, and the need of a blood transfusion? The fact that Dayz mod got so popular in the early days tells you that this is not a problem. The community has always helped each other to survive. #Dayz. He's bang on the money as well. So many people talking about it. This one here, Pugman. This reply from Tim actually gave me some hope. I read it and broken bones may be included but won't be as complex as they'd originally planned. Maybe I'm clutching at straws though. Someone put a comment, can you at least, Pugman did, and you at least say you haven't written off the complex medical system forever. I don't mind waiting for it, but watching Dayz videos years ago, Broken Bones was one of the features that got me most interested in the game. As said in the status report, we will not commit to it, but complex is relative, which is the main point here. You can always make an idea more complicated. For example, broken limbs include recovery times with changing animations and much more, so we would like to expand on the medical. My theory is this. I've heard it said that members of the console crowd want a more complex game, but you've only got to look at the server stats. Let me see if I can bring that up. GameSpy, I think it is. Nope, not GameSpy. God, I can't remember the name of that bloody website. There we go. Game Tracker. When you look at the most popular servers, as much as it sucks, the ones playing on the highly modded servers are generally always the most popular, and there you go. We've got 1SK for Australia, which is modded to within an inch of its fucking life. There's no stamina. You trip over fucking weapons even on the coast. It is just that ridiculous. There's a few in there. You've got the Running Man's server. I think if I was to flick to the next page, you'd probably see Dayz Underground as well. Dayz RP. Dayz Underground, I'm not seeing it there. But yeah, there's a few people who are keeping the more hardcore servers popular, but overall it's your 5 times loot, code lock traders and all the rest of it that are the servers that people are wanting. They are wanting a more light experience when it comes to playing Dayz. That said, this core game can still be hard. It doesn't need to be easy. The mods can do it, but that's for PC. When it comes to console, they can't do the mods, at least not at this stage. So they're stuck with the same hard version that a lot of us are crying out for. So they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. What do? But I totally agree with what Renee has said here. Minder says this pretty much the same. Yeah, fancy animations, I agree with Beeve there. It doesn't need to be that fancy. It'd be great if it was. But yeah, Kerbo looking into the code a bit. Yeah, we've got to wait and see what happens. That's me piping in. Samrek's response was quite interesting there. I said my theory that it's being dumbed down. I'm pretty sure I alluded to this in the past. The lack of broken bones is a big one for me. Thankfully, there are some decent mods like medical attention that allow for a lot of what we are asking for here. If you haven't, please check out the medical attention mod if you're looking for something to add a bit of complexity to your server. They use it on the Dayz Down Under server here in Australia, and it's fucking amazing. A few little kinks and bugs that we're still working out, but Lucian Pin, the guy who created it, he's active in our Discord that the guys at Dayz Down Under have set up, and always looking for feedback from us. But it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Sumrex says dumb down of the health blood disease system is certainly not intended, but it is perhaps rather unfortunate outcome of existing medical systems missing through balancing passes along with some minor improvements. Situation with blood is definitely an example to solve. I know that's one of the things that they do have on the medical attention mod. If you lose too much blood, you can never get it fully back. So one of the first things you need to do is collect your own blood and keep a bag on you so that if needed, you can give yourself a transfusion to get your blood back up to full again. Not realistic. Yeah, you could eventually heal your blood back, but that would take a long time. In reality, I think it's just an interesting little gaming mechanic that does add something to the game. But yeah, I digress a little there. It does concern me. Broken bones. I could live without the blood transfusions even, but broken bones, we need them. We need them. There was, oh man, I remember a time at the Northwest Airfield, I had my legs broken and I was just, I couldn't fucking move. I had to lay there. This is when it was still the old tent city at the northern end. And wait, and this guy, he must have thought he killed me, and he came running up, and I'm laying there. I couldn't get up and fucking crawl, and I just lay there with my gun out, and I took him out as he came running up on me. It was one of my proudest fucking moments of gaming. I felt so bad for him because he'd got the drop on me and dropped me, but he didn't finish me, and he just came running up. Obviously. Oh, piece of candy. Oh, piece of candy. He wanted to see what loot he was going to get from me, and he died because of it. And then I was able to heal my broken legs, and yeah, it's just such an integral part of the game. Yeah. New content, guns, cars, etc. As you know, we have already added some of these. More will follow, but keep in mind that it will depend on how quickly we can achieve this year's goals. Modding support, we will improve the user experience for both modders and players. For example, we will soon bring animation tool support. So that's really cool. That is really, really cool. That'll enable some of the mods that are out there that do certain things to do some animations for it if they're that way inclined. Stable base building. A large part of this is a matter of balancing, and it's one of our key objectives for the year. It is a big issue. There are a lot of mods out there which do make it a bit more stable. I know there's some really good ones on the Dayz Down Under server as well, which are allowing for raiding. Some contention about the base raid saw, even though no one's ever seen one yet. But there's only a couple of tools that spawn very, very rarely, which will actually break down walls. A specific base raid hammer, base raid saw, and bolt cutters for getting barbed wire off. And you can knock down part of a wall or saw a lock off, and yeah, it's actually proving quite interesting. But our focus for Dayz for the rest of 2019 will be bug fixing, stabilising, balancing and modding support. We also plan to release an official DLC this year. Keep your eyes open and follow us on social media for updates. Additionally, we are currently experimenting with Survivor games, which I talked about in the last video, a mod and popular tournament from the past, and we'll possibly bring this to Dayz as an additional game mode. So they're still not committing to it. They're saying possibly, but I think after things like the 2015 roadmap and that, I don't even think you could get a Dayz dev to agree that the sky is blue outside. They're just loath to commit to anything these days. So yeah. This next part did worry me about people. It's normal, especially in this industry, to move on after working on a particular project for several years. And after major releases are done is the most likely time to do so. With Dayz, it's no different. And after releasing 1.0 on PC and console, some people are moving on to other projects internally or leaving the company. You should go about saying no matter what, these people will always be in the hearts of the Dayz team. Whilst these are by no means the only team changes, we wanted to at least address the public faces of the game who are leaving. So Peter Nespesny, lead designer who led the design direction of Dayz through many years. That was a couple of months back, I believe. Very sad to see Peter go. Eugen was a shock. Project lead will always be loved for his honesty and open ears to both players and developers. That really stunned me. The first I saw was a tweet from him. I saw that tweet before I'd even read the status report, so I was quite gutted. Sadly, I never got to meet either him or Peter or Martin or Batty in person because the bastards never came to fucking PAX Australia. As much as I begged and offered to sell my ass if needed to buy the plane tickets for them, but they were just unable to get down here due to the costs involved with coming all the way to beautiful Australia. Martin Kulak, brand manager, is in our hearts for his efforts for finally bring Dayz successfully to players on Xbox and PlayStation. Martin did a damn good job. I didn't always agree with him. Like I mentioned when I did this post, Martin in particular called me out on it. Boy, do I love you, but you're just way out of touch lately, looking for drama when there's none and being salty when it's totally not needed. But yeah, it's sad to lose Martin, and even sadder, in my opinion, to lose Batty. Batty was just such an amazingly bubbly and out there person, and as a community manager, she was brilliant at what she did. Gold standard. Loved for all the personal care for our community and interactions with our player base. I loved her community spotlights that she did. That was my favourite part of the old status reports, because we are such a loyal and strong community, those of us who stay true to the game. And by staying true, I don't mean you sat there and said, Dayz's the best, Dayz's the best, there's nothing broken, don't talk bad about Dayz. No. But those of us who were patient and waited. You didn't have to continue playing it, but you didn't shit on it like some people have. You just said, right now it's pretty shit. I'm going to go play something else for a while. But you stayed close and you kept an eye on what was happening. So everyone who worked on Dayz not only has a great line in their portfolio, but the tremendous support of both of us and the community behind them. And we wish them all the success in the world. Press F to play respects. F's in chat. Really, really sad to lose those four, as well as obviously in the past Brian, Esmos, the old community manager for Batty and Martin were on board as well. He was fucking amazing. I got to spend some time with him. I don't know, maybe it hurt a bit more because I did get to know these guys. You know, if you remember, I sent them that care package all that time back because I really loved Dayz, and I loved how open the in general they were with the community. You know, I got to know them on not really a personal level, but more so than just a professional level. No one respected all of them, even if I didn't agree with everything, but my thoughts go out to you guys. Okay, now there was a lot, as you could expect, a lot of comments from people unhappy and so on. So they actually released a update. Close that down. In light of the response to our recent or responses to our recent status report, we would like to clarify some details we didn't make clear and answer some of the most apparent concerns from the community. We don't intend to reopen past topics nor debate what was said and promised over the years, but rather focus on the future of Dayz and highlight a few facts. Of course, the trajectory of the project has been adjusted several times over the years, and our communication didn't reflect these changes. For this, we sincerely apologise. So why not announce the upcoming features? The current development cycle doesn't allow us to communicate too far ahead of an update, as we keep our schedule flexible because anything can and does happen, and we need to be able to effectively deal with any unforeseen developments. For example, the duping and other database related issues have taken up a lot of our time. We keep exploring and experimenting with what features and content we can revive in the post-release period. However, sometimes these ventures are unsuccessful. While some features won't come back this year, we can assure you that feature development hasn't stopped. For example, we are currently working on the comeback of vaulting together with the introduction of climbing, and a little teaser right there. Looks pretty cool. Oh, that did absolutely nothing. So I am quite excited to see that. Will definitely add a lot to base building, won't it? A whole new complex way of having to protect your bases. I'm wondering whether you'll be able to climb through windows and stuff like that. So very, very interesting. What are the gains and consequences of the new engine? The two core issues we faced at the start of development were security and performance, highlighted by both us and the community as the focus of our efforts moving forward. Those issues were never going to be fixed using the previous technology, RV. The decision to move to a new engine was mainly based on these two limitations, and this effort led to the creation of Infusion and its future iterations. It's very easy to forget just how broken the game really was back then, with this being a major factor behind delays. Dying to stairwells, for anyone, the zombies just fucking, walls were no limitation to a zombie bar back then. To break free from the chains of these technological limitations, we had to replace the script language and its engine to massively improve the performance and security of the game, as well as the renderer, which was a large contributor to the poor performance. However, we underestimated the amount of effort needed and thus dug a hole too deep to get out of. This meant we had to rewrite almost all of the gameplay elements from scratch, losing features and variation along the way. It's important to remember that there was no real way to iterate and improve in these areas on the old technology. Therefore, we were left with basically two choices: live with performance or security issues and slightly improve them while expanding the gameplay, or go back to the drawing board and figure out the new baseline but lose stuff in the process. We chose the latter. So basically, they had to choose between shit sandwich A and shit sandwich B, but shit sandwich B had a few fairy sprinkles on top, so they went with shit sandwich B. Was it the right choice? The new engine has dramatically improved the game, performance, authoritative server, persistence, etc., and paved the way for our future developments. Me personally, I think it was the right choice. DayZ has never looked better. It was always a beautiful game, but fuck me, it is really beautiful now. Feature parity with pre and post beta. While we all wanted to get there, it's clear that this isn't possible due to the above changes. The pre-beta was an elaborate and extended alpha of the game, but we had to cut it down to a manageable piece for its release. Ergo, many features have been relayed to the post-release backlog. Helicopters being one, bikes and boats. I'm even hoping to get them one day, but yeah, that and a number of other things. So it is what it is. The game is still fucking playable, and if you really need more, there are mods out there which will do almost anything that you want it to do. Okay. Will the rest of the year be only about fixing? Bug fixing will be our main priority to stabilise the game for new content and mechanics. However, we are also working on new content for the core game. We're just not yet ready to specify any details. Again, what colour is the sky? Lovely weather we're having today. They won't promise anything. Incoming DLC, paid content and features. The paid DLC mentioned in the status report isn't Survivor games. And as Tim wrote, no features nor pieces of content will be behind a paywall. If anything, they will be released as part of the supporting update of the game. While we aren't ready to share details and specifics, as hinted on Twitter, the central piece is a new terrain and it isn't Namolsk. So I had wondered whether they were actually going to offer Sumrak, and I really think they fucking should, some money and buy the content off of him. That guy is an absolute bloody champion. I've got so much respect for him. He's a creative genius. He's made so many amazing changes. Even when I was skeptical, yes, Adam, I'll admit it, I was skeptical of some of the changes of the map, but the work you have done, mate, whilst I still do miss the old Chernarus, with Tent City at Balota in particular, hashtag bring back Balota, I do admit that there is a lot of value in the stuff that's being done, and I, like everyone else, mate, cannot wait to sink my teeth into Namolsk when you finally are ready to release it. Team changes, new leadership. Yes, some key project people have left the team to venture new territories, but all their roles are covered, mostly by people who have worked on DayZ for years. It's just not. It's just that not everyone likes being as public or Eugene or Peter have been. So that's something we do need to bear in mind. We've been very lucky, we had people like Brian, who was incredibly public, even despite all the hate he got. He was always approachable. And then Eugene and Peter and Batty and Martin, they've all been very out there in communicating well with the DayZ fan base, which can be a bit at times, but you get that with everything, whether it be flowers or I was going to say politics, but yeah, you definitely get it in politics. But yeah, that's enough about politics. What about the limited communication over the past months? And that's something I have been critical and heard a lot of people say. I kept saying they need to bring back the status report. Well, they did. It wasn't quite what I was hoping for, with more to it, but yeah. With the release of DayZ, we decided to focus the communication on facts and avoid any over-promising. It resulted in a smaller volume of information, more open to speculation but more accurate, and left out things which weren't yet ready. Yes, issues might have occurred since the release. Our communication will keep evolving and improving this year and beyond. One thing, I will say it again, and I will say it again. Bring back the community spotlight. Show us what is happening out there. You guys are pretty much the only people in a position to collate everything that's going on, be it on console, be it on PC, be it on streams, be it on YouTube, and highlight the stuff out there. I know myself how fucking thrilled and honoured I was when I first made the status report, and every time I made it since then. It is such a thrill and an honour. It means the fucking world to content creators to be recognised by a game that, I've never been this passionate about a game in the past that I've followed it as closely as I have DayZ. But to be recognised and honoured in that way means so much. And even those who aren't content creators, they still love seeing their favourite content creators get mentioned in there as well. So bring back the community spotlight. Even if you don't do the more technical parts of a status report, bring back the community spotlight. Make it a hashtag, people. Fucking bombard them with it. Bombard them with it until they do it. Tim, you heard me. And private servers for console. We are preparing them in close cooperation with our partners, and we'll communicate more as soon as we solidify the specifics. Feel free to share your questions here. We will include them in the FAQ we're currently putting together. So a nice little update there from them, but I still can't go past this point. Please, for the love of God, don't skimp on the health system. We all want it to be something more. The console crowd will get used to it. DayZ needs to be something unique. The reason why Scum and all the other games like Rust and Ark and all the rest of it have never overtaken, in my opinion, never replaced DayZ, is because DayZ is unique. DayZ is hard. DayZ is gritty. DayZ is grueling. And yes, there are mods too, but even no matter how much you mod, most of those mods still aren't really affecting the ability to be one-shotted by a weapon. I doubt that they would remove broken bones on them either, because it's just such an integral part of DayZ. They may do something about blood transfusions, but leave it in there. Please leave it in there, or bring it back. Bring it back, yeah, bring it back now. I just can't say it enough. We need it. We need broken bones, and we need the more complex medical aspects. I would like to quickly, I did allude to it, bring up the medical attention mod. Browse the workshop. For those of you who are looking for something a bit by Lucian, looking for something a little bit more full-on for your DayZ experience, this is the mod to speak to your server owners about getting. Little things like sleeping. You have to sleep in it, which I know sounds fucking retarded, but trust me, it's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. You find yourself planning when you're about to go on an expedition. Oh shit, hang about. The fact that you can only get 100% back by sleeping at night time next to a fire means that people aren't logging off at night when the server goes dark. They're staying on so they can light a fire. It is absolutely bloody brilliant. Absolutely bloody brilliant. So I'm not going to go into it in more detail. Yeah, we'll leave. If you're interested, you can check it out via the DayZ workshop. But let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment. Hit me up on Twitter at Boydie_73. Jump into my Discord. All the links are in the description below. Don't forget, you can help support what I'm trying to do with my channel and for the DayZ community. You can buy a mug. You can subscribe to me on your Twitch. But I'm really pushing the mugs at the moment. I've got a little mug club that goes up at the end of each of my major videos. So please consider it. I'd love you a long time. Helps me get to do more of this, because I can say to the missus, look, I made some money. I made $5. Woohoo! Anyway, all the best, and ciao for now.